Hey broomheads, happy 2018. I have a bit of a new setup here. I have my camera back and I have two lights now. So hopefully I'm not too fluorescent. I'm still trying to learn how far away they should be from me and everything. Today we are going to watch another episode of Degrassi. This was requested by Magik 2.0. We're going to watch Unbelievable from season 13. And this should be interesting because I've only seen this episode once, maybe twice. So it'll be cool to revisit and re-explore. So let's jump on it. Oh. Y'all, why did you request such a sad one? I can't believe y'all are doing this to me. Okay, so the episode starts out and we see Zoe starting to wake up and like looking around and realizing where she is. She sees that she is kind of like laid out on this lounge chair, like a beach chair. She's covered up with a blanket and she sees like her swimsuit over there to the side. There's like a red cup on the nightstand next to her. And then Frankie, I forgot how long Frankie has been on the show. Then Frankie and Hunter come in. So that reveals to us that Zoe is at Frankie's house, you know, to fill us all in. Zoe is like, why am I here? Why am I still at your house? And Frankie says, probably has something to do with all the drinking you did last night. So that kind of like gets us up to speed that there was some sort of a party. Zoe had a lot to drink. She's spent the night. Then Frankie pulls out her phone and shows Zoe all the footage of Zoe doing several irresponsible things while under the influence. And Zoe says, I don't remember any of that. Hunter looks so young. I didn't realize how much he has grown. Frankie is saying something about a sing-off or something. I don't remember what that is, but she's like, I don't think we can do it anymore because no one will vote for us. And Zoe says something like, oh, it's fine, you know, everyone will forget about it. And they talk so fast. I remember like how fast the episodes seemed to go in this season. They were just like bam, 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 and everything just happened real fast, and everyone talked really fast, and I was like, what? Wait, what? And I kind of liked the theme song, if you can even call that a theme song, because it's like 5 seconds long. But, you know, to the point. This is kind of like bringing me down memory lane. It was this strange overlap between two very distinct ages in Degrassi. So we have like Imogen and Becky and stuff. Oh, and Allie interwoven with like Frankie and Hunter and the younger generation. What year was this? I feel like this was right when I was trying to get back into Degrassi after a hiatus. Okay, we are at Degrassi Community School, and Becky strolls in her super bright, colorful dress and approaches Imogen, and she's talking about something about the sing-off. I feel like I'm not up to speed with this part. I don't really remember. And Becky starts saying like she wants to do some sort of a PSA about teens and alcohol, and Imogen's like, I don't know. And Becky pulls up pictures of Zoe from, I guess, last night. And she's like, girls need to know that if they drink alcohol, they're responsible for their actions. But finally, Imogen's like, okay, whatever, that's fine. And I've just got all these weird feelings because I have, like, nostalgia, sort of. But I can't say I particularly like people like Becky or Imogen. I can't understand what anyone is saying. They talk so fast. Do I need to turn up the volume or something? Okay, now we're in a classroom. We're in somebody's class, and Miles sits kind of like diagonal to Maya, and they start talking, and it's clear they've had some sort of fight. I feel kind of bad that I don't remember the context of a lot of this. Like, I don't know if Maya and Miles were recently together at this point. They're arguing. Miles is basically trying to apologize, and Maya's basically like, and then Miles puts like a Tiffany's box on her desk or something, and she's like, you can't buy my forgiveness. And then there's Winston. He's been on the show a long time too. So Maya is so mad that she picks up the little box, throws it on, I guess it's his desk, you can't really tell, and walks away. And Miles is like, ugh. Okay, now we are in a classroom of some sort, and Zoe's practicing for the sing-off, whatever the heck that is, and she's singing Madonna. And I do remember this scene. I do remember she's singing the Let's Get Physical song. I guess that's Madonna. And every time I hear that song now, I just think of Zoe. It's not bad, but it's just kind of like, and Frankie's like, and Frankie's wearing this tiny little romper that we definitely wouldn't be able to wear at my school. Also, hold on. Why would students be allowed to do a chair dance on stage in a high school? And then someone named Keisha comes in. Did Keisha have a big presence on Degrassi? Because Keisha, I don't remember you. Anyway, so when Keisha comes in, she says there are these rumors going around, Zoe, that you had sex with this guy at this party last night. And Zoe gets really mad and she's like, look, I've had sex before. I think I would know if I had sex with a guy at a party last night. That's kind of reminiscent, I think, of Darcy saying, like, I would know if I had sex, or something to that effect. And she also says she doesn't have sex with random guys at parties. That's not what she does. All right, we are now in the boys' locker room. I can't really say that I fully like this age of Degrassi. I don't think I do. So all these boys are coming in, people like Dallas and Miles and Luke, people I just don't like that much. All the boys have gone out into the gym now. Dallas starts talking to Miles about how he needs to be ready for this game. And then all the boys start talking about that killer party that was at Miles's house last night. Miles says that Maya, his girlfriend, now we know it's his girlfriend Maya got really mad that he threw that party. I don't really know why. Tristan suggests that Miles perform some sort of grand gesture in order to apologize to Maya. Drew's still on this show. Awesome. Here in the next scene, we are looking through the lens of a video camera. Becky is the one holding the camera and she's trying to interview all the students about how much they drink or what's the most they've ever had to drink. And she asks a few people and everyone denies that they drink at all. So, feeling dejected, Becky sits on a picnic table near her brother Luke and sort of asks for his advice, and he says, just be a little more aggressive, like just corner someone that you know they drink and just start asking them questions about it. Okay, the next scene, we are in one of the classrooms and class is just let out, and Zoe runs up to Miles and says, "Did we have sex at your party?" And Miles is like, "Shut up," and lowers his voice to a whisper and explains that Zoe tried to kiss him and passed out, so he and Winston took her to the pool house. And that was it. And Zoe's like, okay, good. So Zoe starts walking down the hall. Becky's waiting around the corner like, okay, I'm ready. And then Becky jumps in Zoe's face all paparazzi style and starts asking all these intrusive questions, such as, how many drinks did you have at Miles's party last night? And Zoe just shuts it down, saying nothing happened between me and any guys, and everyone quit asking. Now we are reviewing the footage with Becky and Imogen, and Becky's like, I just can't be a journalist. But then Imogen is like, well, maybe there's something else you could do, and she pulls up this video on her phone that was posted by an anonymous source called The Watcher, and it's a video of Zoe being really drunk and rolling around on the floor, I think. And you hear two guys laughing, and Zoe is saying things like, do you think I'm sexy? And Imogen and Becky are saying that they can't make out who the voices are. And Imogen said, but hasn't Drew gotten with Zoe before? And Becky gets up and runs off. And Imogen says, wait, where are you going? And Becky says, to finish my story. Can I just say that every journalist on Degrassi has been annoying. Ellie as a journalist, annoying. Shantae as a journalist, annoying. Claire as a journalist, annoying. Becky as a journalist, annoying. Oh my god, we're in the next scene. We're in the hallway. Becky's outfit is like the best thing I've ever seen. Oh my god. Anyway, so Becky approaches Drew and she's like, can I talk to you? And they go and sit down in the classroom and she shows Drew the video of Zoe. So Drew's like, oh my gosh, who did this? And Becky's like, it wasn't you? And Drew's like, no, it wasn't me. He's like, this is awful. And he throws the phone down, and I'm glad because it really is awful and I don't like seeing it over and over. It's very disturbing. And Becky says, well, Zoe denies that any of this happened, and Drew says, well, maybe she doesn't remember. And Becky's like, what do you mean? And Drew's like, well, sometimes when you drink, you don't remember things. Then Drew suggests maybe someone did this to her. Becky says, so this means that Zoe may have been assaulted? And Drew says, yes, by what seems like two guys. And now we're watching this montage of Becky and Imogen putting up screenshots from all the video footage, and Becky saying, like, up until now I thought that when you drink, everything you do is your fault, and now she's beginning to change her mind. This is a really interesting topic, and I think it's really important to bring this controversy to light and open it up for discussion, because I definitely think it needs to be explored. Oh, okay. They're not only putting up screenshots of that video, but they're putting up all pictures that were taken at the party, thanks to social media. It is so strange. It's so interesting because I graduated high school in 2006, so I'm like the same age as Paige in Hazel and Jimmy's class. And there was social media, but our lives weren't so intertwined with it like these kids on season 13, for example. So it's really interesting that it can be such a tool for cases like this. So Becky, Imogen, and Drew are trying to like ruminate, figure out who could have possibly done this. The private investigation begins. We see Becky asking Jenna questions like what she saw at the party. Jenna says something like, I don't know, Zoe's a liar. And then we see Imogen asking Dallas some questions. And Dallas insists that none of his basketball guys would have been responsible. He doesn't recognize the voices. Oh my gosh, Grace. Man, they've all been on the show for a long time. And so now we are seeing Drew ask Zig and Grace the same questions. And Zig says something like, well, that girl's crazy anyway. And Grace is like, so does that mean she deserves it? Which I think is a really good point and a good question, and something that we should always ask instead of victim blaming. Okay, now Zoe and Keisha and Frankie are all walking down the hall singing Let's Get Physical and harmonizing, and it's terrible. I don't know, like this is just as cringy as like two girls and a keyboard. Frankie's like, this is gonna be so good, Zoe, no one's gonna see you as a skank anymore, they're just gonna see you as a star. And Zoe's like, ha, yeah. And just as she says this, Frankie's phone makes a noise and she pulls it out and she sees the video. And she tries not to let Zoe see it, but Zoe insists. And the scene where she's watching it, this just seems to like drag out forever. And it's just so quiet. It's really messed up. And all she says is, I don't remember this. And then you see around the hall, like everyone's getting it on their phone too, and they're all kind of like watching it and looking at her. And one of these students looks like she's 45. And this kind of brings back memories of Manny and when Manny's video got leaked. We have returned to the private investigation team's collage board. They have made little profiles for every possible suspect. And they're talking about how they have no real leads and no one seems to know anything. And then Becky's iPad gets like a beep beep sound and she opens it and she's like, this is from the Watcher, and it has some like weird little riddle and it says, click on this link. And I don't really remember this part. So what's on the link is video footage from the security cameras at Miles's house, and it shows Miles and Winston carrying Zoe away. And that Miles is wearing a basketball jacket, and Becky points out that one of the men in the original Watcher video had a basketball jacket on. So they're like, well, was it Winston and Miles that did this? Imogen's like, well, we can't do anything unless we have real proof. But more importantly, we have the sing-off to worry about. Okay, and now we're in the calf and the sing-off or whatever is about to happen. The calf, it looks really different now than it did like back in the Next Generation's early days. And I don't really like it. I feel like it's too pretty now. I liked, especially in Degrassi Junior High, like everything was ugly because schools are ugly. And this school is like super pretty now. Maya is in the audience with Winston, and apparently he has tricked her into coming to watch. He told her that Tristan was singing, but actually he's not. This seems to be Miles's grand gesture that he was planning. And he's like, please just stay and watch. This is something that me and my friend Sarah hated about this age of Degrassi is they're like incorporating all these musical numbers that are just like, I don't know why, I just can't stand them. Like that scene where Maya and Zoe were like singing in the dot together, and then now Miles is singing this terrible performance for Maya to apologize. It's like a whole new level. And Maya is enjoying it. She's like, hee hee hee. And the judges give the performance a 9.8. Is that out of 100? Next performing is Zoe, Keisha, and Frankie doing their Let's Get Physical dance routine. This is a fine song, but I just don't think it's that easy to harmonize with or to make harmonies out of. I'm not a music person, but something about it just sounds a little off. And Zoe starts feeling a little uneasy with all these eyes on her and just starts to kind of have like flashbacks in her head of the video footage. And I'm sure she's just looking around at, you know, people with basketball jackets on and stuff and wondering which one of them are the ones that assaulted me. And Zoe's just like, I can't do this, and she runs off stage. And Becky tries to follow her, and Winston's like, you're supposed to be filming this. And Becky's like, I have more important things to worry about, you monster. Oh yeah, she called him a monster because she thinks he assaulted Zoe. Okay, so now Becky is with Mr. Simpson showing the video footage and basically like telling him everything she knows. Oh, it appears to be the next day because Becky's wearing a different outfit now. All yellow. Signature Becky. Oh, this is a story Becky wants to air, and she's trying to get Simpson's permission. And her point is going to be that just because a person is drunk does not mean they deserve to be assaulted, basically. That's the only way I can think of to say it. And Becky's like, can I air this story? And Simpson's like, hell no, I have to call the police. Okay, it appears that everything is well in Miles and Maya's world because they are holding hands, skipping down the hall into class. And they say hi to Winston, and then they start making out. And then Simpson comes in and says, I need a word with Miles and Winston. And Miles says, I'm a little busy, and proceeds to keep kissing his girlfriend. Yeah, no, that would not happen in real life. And he's like, well, the police want to talk to you. And then the police come in all dramatically behind him. And then we zoom in on Miles and Winston, slow motion. And then we freeze frame. And that's the end of the episode. I'm not sure if that's the end of the episode. The version I'm watching right now has both part 1 and part 2 just smacked together into one big episode. So I'm going to cut it in half right here. And I will return for part 2 later. So what do you guys think of this episode? It's not really fun and games or anything, but it's really important. And I love that Degrassi tackled this. I remember this kind of affected me back when I first watched it, but I was also really proud. So that was part 1. I'll come back for part 2. This is pretty heavy. Magik 2.0, what you trying to do to me? I'm not going to cry on camera. I'll see you next time. Bye, broomheadz.